like surrounding white counties that get to use like the water here. It's about time that the poorest citizens start doing their fair share. And I don't know if rain catchment is illegal, but if it is legal, I definitely recommend people start doing it, because the mayor's not going to help you anymore. The free lunch, or I guess the free drink, is over. Baby Chokwe also issues arrest warrants for not cutting the grass for people now. Like, not cutting the grass means that you possibly should be in a cage, okay? He does not enforce laws and protections, however, for the one thing I would want him to enforce laws and protections for, which is the state's only abortion clinic. State has one abortion clinic, and because of the consent doctrine and him kind of caving on that, people are allowed to do kind of whatever they want to folk who have uteruses that are trying to get health services, the one place in the state that they can get them. He does not institute restorative justice practices and does not fund alternatives to incarceration. He does not provide funding for secular food banks, secular community centers, secular houseless shelters, harm reduction supplies, and other services for the houseless. And though this is very strongly and very obviously, from what I just witnessed, a Christian community, our Constitution does guarantee that church and state are supposed to be separate. So it should be nice that people like have what they need to live, not having to come through a faith-based organization. Things that he does do, he does worship the police and spend city money on fancy new police cars with new designs, like, because that's what's important. That's like getting a new, fancy car when, like, your lights have been cut off, or in this case, the water has been cut off. And all these signs point not to the radicalism of the mayor, but a reactionary fascism. So I would like the mayor to please get a dictionary and look up these words, like fascism and radicalism. And I would ask him strongly to please still show up to the meeting that he and I have scheduled to have on October 24th. Just because I spoke my mind here is no reason to be punitive and not sit down with me, since we arranged this meeting. And finally, I have to say it, if he does end up cutting the recycling for the whole city, as I heard he is intending to do, that really would literally make him a trash mayor. Thank you.
All right. The next speaker is Brandon King, followed by attorney Adolfo Minka. Mr. Minka, you could just follow him to the podium. Thank you.
Peace, everybody. My name is Brandon King. I've been coming to the city for the past 10 years. Been living here for about 5 years. I'm here to talk about the water that also connects to a bunch of different things. Water is a human right. It's something that comes from the sky. I'm wondering, how it's plausible for folks to make people pay for it. When the surrounding county, when there's state buildings in Madison County that don't even have water meters, you got the poorest citizens of the city of Jackson having to foot the bill. That's a big injustice, especially for a city that claims to be radical and to be looking out for the citizens. 85% who are black. This connects also to if we're trying to build something that is sustainable, like a sustainable city. Cutting off the recycle is a huge detriment to that. If everything is going to go into landfills, that doesn't bode well for the city. That doesn't bode well for our environment, especially when the South is already a place where a lot of multinational corporations seem to be a dumping ground for a place. So if we want to be a model city, I think that recycling should definitely be a priority. The other thing is just in relation to priorities, I find it baffling that we can find space in the budget for more police, to criminalize poor black people, to find more money for police detail vehicles with orange. That's going to make the police safer in our communities when 4 people over this past year have been murdered by the police and nothing has been done, when 9 people have been assaulted by the police and nothing has been done. These are things that I feel like the city of Jackson, our city council, the mayor need to seriously look at and reprioritize what the priorities are and kind of how it's relating to the majority of the people who live here. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Attorney Minka, followed by Mr. Mike Peters. Mr. Peters, if you could follow him to the podium. Mr. Minka.
Good afternoon. Well, good evening. I'm here to basically follow up on what's been said already, just to re-emphasize it. Recycling is something that's important. It's something that me and my family do, and it's something that people in my community do. It's important. So we would like the city to reconsider its decision to cut off recycling, because there are some people in the city who will do what is necessary to try to ensure that the city does do its fair share in cleaning up the city's recycling and trash. So we just ask that the city council reconsider whether they need to kind of get together with the mayor and talk to him about that or whatnot, because this is something that's important to our environment. It's something important to this city and this community. And we think that Jackson should be a model and a light for other cities on this issue of recycling and sustainability. Another issue that I have, the past week, last week, the city council approved a new police chief. And I found it interesting that nobody had any questions to ask of this police chief. Now, I know many of you personally know him, but there are people in this city who may not know him as well. And we would have greatly appreciated, because I'm one of those people. I don't know him. I haven't had any interaction with him. But I have had interactions with the police in this city. And I have been following closely the police state violence that's been going on. And for no one to ask questions about such a critical position in this city, that was concerning to me. And I think that there should have been some kind of forum, because we had council people who went about the city with Mike Hurst when he wanted to roll out Project Eject. So why didn't we have councilmen going about in the city with the now new police chief, talking to the people about him and about what he wanted to do? And the same goes for the new person that's on the Board of Education. And I know him personally. I believe he's a good man. I believe he's a sincere man. But everybody in the city does not know Frank Figures. So I think also it should have been some forum for the people to ask him questions about what his ideas are, what he has in store for his position. Because when we don't do these things, when we don't put the people at the fore of what we're doing, then we have a problem with democracy, participatory democracy, and human rights.
All right, thank you, Mr. Minka. Your time's elapsed. Next is Mr. Peters, followed by Kimberly Snow. If Ms. Snow could follow Mr. Peters to the podium so we can keep it rolling.
I'm here just to speak to the vote y'all are going to have later on in the night, giving the Fondren businesses the opportunity